Hello, hello, what is going on, guys? Phoenix61 here with some Legends shenanigans tonight. So, we are in the Amalfi, right? If I'm saying that correctly, probably not, because I usually don't, but, I mean, it's gotta be close, right? Anyway, yes, the Tier 7 Italian cruiser line. So, these are kind of fun, a little different than the others, right? So, a lot of these have the option to have the SAP rounds. So if you notice, we are using the semi-auto piercing rounds, right? Instead of the, you have to forego the explosive rounds, right? So you're not going to be triggering any fires unless, of course, you're in range of secondaries, I think. I don't think the secondaries on this one are SAP, but anyway. Yeah, so this ends up being a really good game for us, but I kind of wanted to, and I almost didn't save this game, because this is one where it's just kind of like, you know, like if you're going, you know, I was going for the win. I wanted to win this game because I'm working my way towards the Tier 8 in this, you know, line or tech tree or whatever you want to call it, right? So we smoked here, and I think that Missouri took, yeah, he shot at the battleship behind us. I let myself get spotted for just a second, and then we used the rolling smoke. That's the really nice thing about these. The difference here, like, you know, I'm playing through the destroyer line as well, and on the destroyers, you can just keep going, right? Like, but here, like the dispersion time or whatever you want to call it, doesn't last that long, or the deployment time. I don't know what you want to call it, but anyway, like you want to get the full effect from it, you've got to sort of park it in here, and then it only, you know, the smoke screen itself only lasts like 30-40 seconds or whatever, right? So I don't build too much into that with like the commander or anything. It's just not, there's not a lot there, but it is super crazy helpful for sort of getting yourself out of a pinch, or if you need to like change course, right? Like if you need to go broadside to a battleship or something, you know, pop this smoke and then make your turn, and then you're kind of home free, right? So, but yeah, so what I was saying is, this game ends up being just, like, honestly kind of boring, right? And I think that happens a lot with, like, cruiser games where you're trying to get a win, right? Like, so, like, you can go in, be super aggressive, but then you know you're going to go down quickly, you're not going to get a lot of hits, you're not going to help cap zones, you know, like, so you won't have that high scoring game, right? So we are going for high score, or, you know, at least just win, right? I mean, I guess you normally, when you play, you do as best you can, right? But yeah, so we're moving away from these battleships, right? They've got us outpowered, right? But they're gonna pick on the battleship that I would say is probably pressed in a little too much. I think that might be a German battleship, right? So he's probably got a brawler style build, and I think he might have torpedoes too. So I think he ends up taking and finishing off this Missouri. And then we're gonna go, I'll use the overhead camera. If you notice, I looked the other direction and then went into overview camera, and that way your turrets will continue to turn in the direction that you were last looking, right? So yep, so yeah, he torpedoes the Missouri. Yeah, it's an Odin, okay. And then I'm gonna just guess this Wichita, and possibly that, I think it's a Gneisenau that's out there. Would like they look like they want to go around this island, which, like, I mean, I don't know if I would do that. Like, you're right, like, it's, you know, there's a lot of firepower on this side on our team. We got two battleships kind of in the backfield here, but and then, you know, the Odin, of course, he's gonna go down. Right, but like that's just kind of like sometimes those like going out wide like that, depending on the situation, or it can be kind of a time suck, right? But so we're kind of on the slow and steady wins the race path here, right? We're up to 32,000 damage, 35,000 damage now. I'm trying to turn away, and then I'm just keeping an eye on. So I'm gonna shoot this Benson here just because he's their only destroyer, and you know how I feel about trying to get destroyers off the field, right? Off the water, off the match, off the board, whatever you want to call it, right? So we get a good hit there, and so I'm like, ooh, like that worked really well. Like let's try again, and I think I just like completely whiffed this next shot. But like the Connecticut takes a shot at him too, and then he turns in or something there, like he's weaving, right? So we missed there, and then he goes dark, right? So we'll have to keep an eye out for him and try and get rid of him, because that would be important, right? That'd be nice. Get rid of the destroyer. And then I did divert my attention to the B zone cap, the B hole, right? Just because we have it captured, right? So hitting ships in that zone is going to get you those defend banners, and those are always good for XP and stuff too. I pulled the trigger a little too quick on this Alabama, because it was very obvious that he was going to run into the land there, and I still just fired in front of him anyway. So I was kind of mad at myself there. We'll use our torpedoes and kind of dump behind us. This ship, I want to say that it's not the greatest at sort of kiting away, but you can do it, right? It works, right? If you're maneuvering and slowing down, speeding up, right? It works. I feel like I have a little bit better luck doing that kind of stuff with my the Japanese cruisers, right? But yeah, so we'll kind of try and keep our distance and to try and make, I've got a sort of an accuracy and range build into this. It's just kind of, whether that's the best or not, I think a lot of people try and go reload speed with these Italian cruisers, right? But it's just kind of my style, right? And so if I can keep enough distance, we'll kind of try and keep it to one-on-one situations, right? So we can kind of just focus on fire on somebody and whittle them down. Of course, right now it's this Wichita. Yeah, up to 53,000 damage, and it's just every salvo is just a respectable chunk more, but not a lot, right? So we get the torpedo hit there. The range on the torpedoes is always a blessing on these ships as well. And then yeah, I'm like, all right, let's slow down. We either need, yeah, that Wichita doesn't want to get spotted, so he must have just stopped firing his guns. So we'll take the opportunity to get ourselves turned around, since we're not spotted. Planes don't count anymore, right? So I'm gonna just send torpedoes, right? They're long range. I'll just send them. Ideally, I don't like getting into close range battles with people in these ships, so yeah, somebody is continuing to hit that Alabama, so they do keep resetting the zone cap for that. And then yeah, we're gonna just go hunting at this point. The game is still losable, right? There we go, there's Gneisenau. So that's what I was saying about that. I kind of thought maybe he's gonna cut in, or instead of going around, but that all that time he was completely out of the battlefield, right? He wasn't contributing anything until we've just now spotted him, right? So I did switch to straight up armor piercing, just because I was kind of hoping that once we picked up that Wichita, he'd be, sideways to us, trying to run away, because it looks like he's going into A to try and get that zone cap. But so we'll do our salvo, and then we'll switch back to SAP, and I was kind of hoping somebody else could spot the Gneisenau. There he goes, he comes back up, right? So that we could get some of our freebie shots. Yeah, that's what I was saying. It's still a cruiser, right? You still can take pretty hefty broadside hits, right? So we'll try and stay in the smoke screen for a little bit here. Like I said, it's only, you only get about 30, 40 seconds or whatever it is while it dissipates. Kind of hoping for a torpedo hit here. Yes! Then we're watching, I'm looking at the airplanes, right, they're coming in. That is the Soviet carrier, right, so they just drop everything all at once, but they're pretty slow moving, and then he's got to drop them back pretty far, because they stay down in the water, or whatever you want to call it. They don't arm for a while, right, they've got a lot of distance to travel before they arm. And then I shot these torpedoes off to this side, thinking okay, maybe that Wichita's going to come back through, right? He went cap the zone, and he'll come back through, right? And I was kind of surprised we weren't seeing anything from him. I do think Gneisenau has torpedoes, right? So we'll hang on to damage con. And their carrier pops up, so that's probably why he was focusing on me, because I was probably the closest one to him. So we'll switch to AP, see if we can't get some good hits with AP rounds. And yeah, now we are up to, like I said, 93,000, right? Like, it's just like the slow and steady wins the race, kind of. Honestly, kind of a boring match, right? Like, but I was like this is how, like, sometimes this is how I gotta get the wins, right? Like, and so, yeah, like, I have these games like this where it's just like, one, and it was kind of boring. So I almost didn't save this one, but I was like, I need to do some more, you know, like live stream, like, games for for my posts. So I'm like, all right, let's keep. It's a good game. It's a good game. Yeah, then the carrier players, he's getting like I said, like, those are tough to hit. Like, those torpedoes are tough to get hits on, especially on like cruisers and stuff, like, you know, cruisers and even more so destroyers, right? So I used to be the grumpy butt when it came to people saying that, like, you know, your job as the carriers to go after destroyers. I'm like, dude, like, these do not work well against destroyers at all, right? Like, it is not, you know, valuable for me to just waste run after run, right? Maybe that has to do with my skill level as a carrier, but yeah. So we get a clear skies there, just because, yeah, he's been hovering over us, so yeah, decent AA on this ship as well. I don't think I've put anything extra into AA when it comes to commander modules or anything. And then we'll turn away. You don't have to worry about being broadside. Just, oh, man. See, this is why carrier got it. Like, people tell me that I'm aiming too high sometimes, and I'm like, that's why I do it, because when I aim where you're supposed to aim, like, half the shells hit the water, and then I don't get any damage, right? So we missed the kill there. And then, yeah, this is Wichita. Like, this is that Wichita that was, like, somewhat chasing us before. Just made a beeline for the other side of the map, so I'm not sure what his game plan is, but it's gone. We'll go in and recapture the A zone while we see if we can't get in range to shoot at him. These ships are pretty quick too. You know, we're up to, you know, you don't get engine boost or anything like that, but we're up to, you know, 37 knots or so there before we started turning. So these are good. And then the SAP rounds are just wicked brutal against destroyers, especially. So these are really great destroyer hunters because you've got that speed. You know, the only thing you're kind of missing is, you know, sonar or radar, right? Like, you can't get those cheesy pickups, right? And then, yeah, we're up to, you know, I mean, the carrier gave us a significant amount more, you know, brought our damage numbers up quite a bit, right? But we're up to 150,000 now. Got a little bit more off the Wichita. And then, yeah, since I'm basically going for high XP earnings, right? Because I'm trying to unlock the tier 8 in the tech tree or the ship line, whatever you want to call it, right? So I'm going to slow down here and make sure we get the zone cap. And then we'll go back up full throttle, yep. And we'll see if anybody picks him up, or if we will just straight up win on points. I think he gets spotted here again, and we get some more chances to shoot at him. Yeah, there he is. So I take the shot, even though the little island symbol was right there, right? Because, like, sometimes it shows up, even though and then it goes away a second later. Yeah, I got like one bullet over there. Then he turned away anyway, so I'm like, you know, just lob and you just shoot, right? 50 seconds left in the game anyway, might as well. But then, yeah, sometimes then it, you know, the island symbol's not there, or the mountain symbol, whatever you call it, isn't there, and then you shoot, like, preemptively, right? Premature, right? And then it slams into the island because it, you know, hadn't figured out that you were going to hit the island yet, right? So this is, like, the, like, super close on points and time here. So, like, this is where I'm like, you know, like, dude, if you're that ship, like, YOLO it, right? Like, just pull a 180 and be like, take me, right? Get a few extra hits on ships. to help with your score at the end of the match, right, and then be done with it. So we'll get one more salvo here. I think we're gonna end up hitting the, yeah. I was like, we gotta shoot because there's only 8 seconds left anyway. So like the time, you know, the time that it takes the bullets to fly, right? That's about how long it was gonna be anyway. So didn't matter. Won the game. So I'll show you what the leaderboard looks like here and kind of like our earnings and stuff too, because this is like what we were going for, right? So we do get up at the top and 3,800 XP, like almost broke that, you know, the sacred 4,000, right? Like, you know, and it's always tough to do, right? And walked away with a decent amount of silver as well. Yeah, that's what I was like. I was like, this was just like kind of a boring game, but we did really, really well, right? Like, so it's just like sometimes cruiser play that just ends up how it ends up, right? So aiming system, propulsion mod, I do concealment system here. Sometimes I'm like, you know, target acquisition's okay to pick. You'll take away from your concealment, right? But you know, it's a ship that doesn't have sonar, right? So it's like kind of nice to have the, you know, the little extra there. I go shell grouping and range here. I think maybe I might change this guy on this, right? But and then because we have beyond range here as well. And then I did do this one, right? So this is one that I almost never pick on cruisers, because a cruiser, you know, before it's too late here, because cruisers, a lot of them have sonar, right? So like it's just like, you know, just appropriately manage your sonar use, and then you don't need that, right? But these ships don't have sonar, right? So I went with that, right? So and then torpedo range, you don't really need that. Like they're already 12 kilometers, right? And then this guy has this, you know, kind of unique perk for SAP shells, so I went with that. And then shell grouping and dispersion. I think refill station is always a good choice with cruisers, but I tend to lean towards fully packed because I like the extra consumables, right? I went through all of mine in that match. But yeah, if you find yourself not going through all your consumables, then refill station makes way more sense, right? Oh, and somebody asked me about this camo. I don't remember where I got these from, but they were regular camo drops from some event or something, right? And so whenever I have one that I like, really like how it looks, right, I convert it to a permanent one and then just use paint to try and level it up whenever I can, right? So, but that's that one. So, yeah, that's our Amalfi game for the day. That's our boring Amalfi game. So I'm impressed if you're still watching, right? So thank you, appreciate it. And make sure you follow the channel, guys. I am on the sacred path to 1,000 followers, and at which point I become a big boy YouTuber, right? Like there's a lot of triggers that happen at that following. So help me out if you're willing, right? I appreciate it. And yeah, we'll see you guys next time. We're doing lots and lots of World of Warships Legends. All right, thanks again.